So the Ukrainian town of Lviv near the Polish border has been spared the brunt of the fighting, but has been flooded with refugees fleeing Russia's onslaught. Lucas Tomlinson is at his post yet again today, and we check in live with you. And Lucas, good morning there as you get ready for another day. Hello.
Bill, good morning. Officials tell me that a no-fly zone over this country would have no effect on some of the 500 ballistic and short-range and cruise missiles that are flying into this country. That have no effect whatsoever. Now, we just got this video in from Chernihiv, located 2 hours north of the capital, a city that has largely been reduced to rubble. Now, earlier, Ukraine's President Zelensky addressed the European continent.
Do not be silent. Support Ukraine. Because if Ukraine does not survive, the whole of Europe will not survive. If Ukraine falls, the whole of Europe will fall.
Tens of thousands of people poured out on the streets of Prague earlier to hear Zelensky's virtual address. This as that convoy remains stalled outside the capital. Many analysts wondering, Bill, where are the Russian soldiers in that convoy? Why don't sat images ever show people outside the vehicles that you would expect out of any kind of military convoy that's parked? If there are reports there's low morale among those soldiers. They're eating expired food. We spoke to one woman earlier on the streets here who said that her mother lives near that convoy and has had Russian soldiers coming into her home and ransacking her food. Here in Lviv, we traveled 30 minutes north of here and saw a former American soldier training with foreign fighters. He offered this explanation for Russia's military problems in this country.
The Ukrainians have killed a lot of Russians in this past week, and I'm surprised how fast the Russians want to throw their troops behind enemy lines to die.
Now, we passed a number of checkpoints going up into the city. This is a university town, Bill, as I've mentioned before. However, once you leave the city, we traveled 30 minutes north from here, go through numerous checkpoints. You see a lot of local militias, citizen soldiers, men building sandbags, and many just armed with hunting rifles, standing a watch, standing a post, clearly on a wartime footing. Some of those fighters said they had seen some Russian gunships flying overhead, Bill.
Lucas, your background is in the military, U.S. Navy, and I just want to draw on that because there were military experts earlier today suggesting that the Russians have supplies and fuel that will get them to Sunday, which means 2 days from now. Are you hearing that? And if so, what can you report on that, if true?
Well, certainly, if we're talking about the convoy and this stalled convoy, there are certainly a lot of questions about the fuel issues and also the mud. The fact that these vehicles that are supposed to be an all-weather force, Bill, and the fact that they have to stick to the main roads is certainly raising questions. You know, those tanks, should be able to, go through any kind of land, and certainly this rich farmland here in Ukraine. In terms of warships, Bill, off the coast of Odessa, we're starting to get some reporting in that some of those ships might have turned around, gone back to Crimea, but as you know, just a couple days ago, we first reported that a group of Russian warships had left Crimea and are posed to do an amphibious assault in Odessa, Ukraine's third largest city. However, there are some reporting tonight from Ukrainian officials that some of those ships may have turned around. So we don't know if that's a diversion tactic, perhaps. You mentioned Kherson, that city north of Crimea. Would some soldiers be coming down there? But again, back to your logistical problems and fuel. Is this Russian army capable of moving that far, Bill?
Great point. Lucas, one last thing here. I have described this Putin march as slower than he wants, steady but deliberate. Would you agree with that?
I think I like slow and steady in terms of deliberate. I think when you look at some of the tactics, the shelling of civilian areas, cruise missiles flying into apartment buildings, indiscriminate shelling with artillery, and so from some of the jet aircraft, Bill, I would say this is looking like Grozny and Chechnya and parts of Syria, perhaps Aleppo. So I'm not so deliberately. Officials would say deliberately evil, targeting civilian areas. Bill.
Yeah, with intent on that. Lucas, thank you. Nice to see you. Great work over there, Lucas.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.